My name's Danielle Dean. I'm a visual artist and I grew up in the UK and I was born in Alabama in America. My project is called Trainers Part 2 True Red. My work is about how advertising constructs the human. Advertising creates and simplifies target markets such as race, age and gender, markers that produce our subjectivity. I used to work as an art director in advertising, so I saw how this worked firsthand.
I don't want to know.
Nowadays, with the internet, there is more potential for multiplicity in subjectivity. I used to use advertising, copy, and cinematography, sometimes combined with political speech, to make assemblage scripts, performed by real people who are affected by this way of framing our context. I use this assemblage method to show the fragility of meaning around subjectivity. This project, which is called Trainers, used an archive of Nike commercials and civil rights speeches, playing with the language of cognitive and physical competition as well as revolution. Can we play the clip?
My dad said I couldn't be a boxer.
Nobody owns us, man. When I say us, I mean nobody owns us. You understand? Nobody can own.
They form the golden chains of condition.
Your hydrogen fights with your oxygen.
But nobody owns us, man. When I say nobody, I mean nobody. Do you understand? Nobody can own.
The revolution will not begin with a laser show or a mascot or some sort of small trampoline.
Next slide. So following this work, I will be making the work Trainers Part 2, which will be developed from an actual Nike product, True Red, the vampire sneaker from 2003. The work will be a multi-channel video which takes this shoe as the protagonist in a speculative vampire narrative. Composed of short scenes, 30 seconds or less, which reflects the timescales of commercials, and shot in a set which combines the symbolism of a castle with a sneaker store. It will use the genre of a vampire as the structure of the video to discuss commodity culture in my sister's community of Aleph, Southwest Houston. So why Nike? Because Nike equals capitalism. It accumulates a lot of capital for a few people with labor practices that approach slavery. Capitalist aspirations limit our potential for different ways of being. Next slide. Why this particular shoe? The aesthetics of the shoe appropriates ideas that are not in the interests of capital accumulation. For example, it features the colors of socialism and anarchism, red and black. The next slide. Why the castle? A castle, or whoever lived in it, used to represent the social order and was a status symbol people looked up to. A sneaker is a status symbol too, a part of a power structure that people look up to today. Next slide and play video. Why the vampire? The vampire feeds on its victims, but this need for others to survive can also disrupt the idea of individualism. The vampire is post-human. The vampire messes with purity as bloodlines are infected, forming new kinships and identities. Binaries are merged together and history is forever present. In a way, a vampire are the original cyborgs. Animation will form part of the work as a form of assemblage, looking at the way it allows for unrelated elements to seamlessly be brought together. This is an animation that I drew by hand, but I will also integrate digital animation into the project, and I'll let you see just the rest of it.
government is looking out for. Them people up there, yeah?
Okay, next slide. The project will feature my sister. She grew up in a lower economic area of Houston, Texas, called Aliff, where opportunities are limited. I will now show you a clip of a piece called Baby Girl, which was shot in Aliff, so you can see a little of the context. Next slide. The government neglects Aliff, Southwest Houston. What if they pointed their guns at the government instead of each other?
We're not that stupid. That's your desire. This is where I live. This is my home.
Next slide. Before shooting the material, Astris, my sister, and I will work together to write the narrative. In workshops leading up to the shoot, we will discuss the ways media capitalism frames our world and can limit our potential, and how this directly affects Astris and her community. To complete the project, I am looking for help from a producer, digital animators, assistant crew such as sound and lighting, also post-production such as color correction and a sound mix. And I also need a car in Houston if anyone has a spare one. Thank you.